In this tutorial, we're going to go over how to use Google Earth and also SketchUp to build up terrain. This is a really good website here, how to import Google into SketchUp if you need it for reference. Kind of goes over some of the information if I don't cover it all. Also, right here is an online 3D converter. You may need to change your object file to STL file so you can run on the CNC machine. It says this greentoken.de. This is a good place to convert your file. So let's go ahead and get started. This is a little bit of what we did with the terrain, where we kind of meshed up several different things together. Did some kind of weird stuff here. I want to see if we can improve that. On this tutorial, we're just going to do one terrain, but we're going to work on that. All right, so this is what it kind of looks like up in SketchUp, but again, I want to show the whole pipeline. So let's go ahead and start on a new file. I'm going to go ahead and close the other one. All right, and so typical in the tutorial, it shows 2 or 3 buttons here that are missing. They are in the software, but you kind of have to dig around, we found out. So what we want to do is, you'll go up to File. You may not see me grabbing the file with the video. We're going up to File, Geolocate, and we're going to add a location. All right. So what you want to do is just type in Blacksburg and then space VA for Virginia, and it should bring up this area. So it'll probably do a really very small version of Blacksburg. It'll show the center, and you guys are interested in this area right here. So the difficult thing is this box is indicating 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. This is all you can grab. So what you're going to do is do several of these grabs and stitch them together. So you may have to do 20 or 30 of these grabs. So that's the bad news. The good news, it does kind of snap it together, but you kind of have to eyeball. You may have to print this out and kind of grab one section at a time. All right, you may find some better tutorials on how to get this to snap. But for right now, you just select a region, hit OK. Let's zoom in. I think you have to be in a little bit closer. Sorry about that. All right, so we're going to get a little bit of the mountains, a little bit more exciting in the flat area. So we hit grab. You'll see it come down to the bottom left-hand corner. It just takes it a while for it to work. So to kind of move around in this area, you're going to use your toggle, and also you can use your hand to move this space around. All right. So right now you don't see any terrain whatsoever, and so what you want to do is go to Geolocate, Show Terrain, and there you go. You can see your terrain starting to show up. All right, so we only have that one. So if you want to add more, you're just going to go ahead and go Geolocation, Add More Imagery. Okay, it should have left off where you were before, and I think after you do your second and third and fourth one, it actually goes all the way back to this original spot. So it's really important that you kind of sketch out where these are. So I'm just going to go ahead and move it over to the left, select region, grab, hit OK. Okay, it'll hold it for a second down here, depending on the processor of your computer. And there you go, it stitches it together. It knows it's lat long, and it'll slap it down, hopefully in the right location. You may have to double check that, but I think it's sitting on there correctly. So I'm going to do a Command Z or undo. I'm just interested in this one little panel because I want to show the whole pipeline. So we're going to go ahead and rotate this around, and what we're going to do is export this out. And I think with the 30-day trial, which is the pro version, you can export out to OBJ. So we're going to call this test _4, and make sure it's in an object file. So you can use other file formats, but for me, if you want to use the CNC, I think OBJ is great. Hit Object, Export. Now you can take that form and take it over to the build lab and see if they can use that. It is, it's paper thin. It's not a solid object, so I'm not sure, 100% sure if it's going to read that. If not, you will need to take this into Maya, and this is probably something I can help you guys out with because Maya is a learning curve. So basically, you just want to do a new scene and go into Maya preferences, settings. And so this is this is 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. So you want to go ahead and go to meters because you won't see it, so it'll be too big. So we're going to go import. And I'm going to go to my test for object, import that in. Okay. All right. Click on that. Okay, go to a different view. All right, so I'll bring up my outliner. All right, so if you don't see your outliner, you're just going to go to Windows, Outliner. Sometimes it's so big that you're going to have to select it like this and go over to your channel editor. If you don't see that, it's going to be this guy right here, your channel editor, and we're going to try to grab our terrain. For some reason, there we go. All right, so we got our terrain. We're going to knock this down to 0.01, 0.01. 0.01. Okay, so we go back into our perspective. I'm going to hit F, and we can see our terrain right there. It's pretty simple, nice and clean. Yours will not be that clean because we noticed that when you do multiples sitting on top of each other, the terrain kind of meshes together. So we may have to do a little bit of cleanup, maybe in Maya or ZBrush. All right, so but this is going to get you ready for CNCing today, so you can get to see the whole process. So I just went right-click, edge, and I'm going to double-click it. You can see it selected the edge on the whole perimeter. Again, it won't happen on yours because you'll have multiple terrains on each other. So I'll hold down my Shift, extrude edge, hit my W, and I'm going to pull this down because I know the terrain is pretty radical. Okay, I'm also going to go extrude edge again. Now I hit R and squeeze that in. Pull this down. And basically what we're doing is trying to make a watertight volume. So I'm going to go ahead and vertex. Again, this is a lot of steps. I will be happy to help you guys out with this. And I'm going to go Shift, right click, merge vertices, merge vertex. And then now it's watertight. All right, so now what I want is this whole bottom to be flat. We don't want it to the surface to look like that. So I'm going to hit 4 so we can see through it. I'll go ahead and pull this up a little bit. Marquee, left mouse, and then on my y-axis I'm going to hit -2 and hit enter. Okay, and we're going to pull this up so we can see we didn't select them all. Let's try that again. Go to a different view. Marquee. Again, I hit down -2. We're going to pull this up. All right. So depending on how thick your foam is, we may have to stack 1 or 2 things and glue them over a 2 or 3 day period. It takes a while for the glue to kind of stitch together. You can also do spray them out and then glue them later. But basically you want 1 or 2 layers of foam depending on how thick this is. All right, so that's it. So now it's watertight. It's ready to go to the mill to print, or the CNC machine. So I'm going to go ahead and export all. And I'm going to call this final. I'll spell it correctly. Final test. And we'll hit export all. Okay. So the final step, I don't know if this is needed or not, but you'll need to convert this. Sometimes the CNC machines want an STL file. Also, if you want to 3D print this, STL files are helpful, but now everyone understands what an OBJ is. So we're going to go ahead and add that in. I think it's called final test, obj open. And we're going to start uploading. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and go hit next. Now this isn't the best STL converter, but it is free. So we want to STL next. Give it some time. Sometimes it takes a couple minutes. Start. All right, there we are. I just click on it and just download it. All right, that's it. So now you'll just take that STL file, and I'd also bring over your object file, take it over to the build lab, and what we're going to do today is go ahead, bring this over to the build lab. We'll just do a 1 foot by 1 foot test on some foam just to make sure we understand the whole pipeline and make sure this is tall enough topography. If you need more, you know, we can stretch it. I think our colleague wants to maybe exaggerate. We could definitely do that by just going like this and exaggerating the form. And I think for children, you'd probably want to do that. Even though it's not real, we can really go nutty. They can even pour water down the ravine so you can see where water goes. So again, the Maya part, I'm happy to help out and help you guys get CNC and retope so it's watertight. But that first section with Google Earth and SketchUp, you guys can help out. All right, good luck.